This message is intended for content creators in particular. Streamers being a bigger waste of time, as at least with curated content, it can be watched at one's own pace, and it usually cuts the crap. Except, they don't keep it raw, edited, which is lazy. Streamers expect people to be idle with them for little to no benefit, with a sprinkle, more like spit, hope of interactivity they would like to receive. It is certainly not worth the effort invested. In general, I believe people should minimize their time in indulgence with entertainment, perhaps to a couple of hours a day, because days are short and they should be present in every moment, enjoying normal interactions without assistance, almost like they're disabled, but that's a topic for another day. Just know the recognition others provide does not amount to anything, so they know your name, handle, even history. Who cares when we are but numbers? And this is episode 10 of Zanizine Zup, an entertainment industry. Back when being a filmmaker was a way to express oneself artistically, has now been manipulated in a way to follow trends or ideas without purpose, except to coerce an audience to pay mind, and more importantly, their cold hard cash. It's never hot cash, seeing as people don't hold on to it for long, unless they have far more than what they need, and even then. Video making is an art, from casting, lighting, shooting, props, sound, set, post-production to export, marketing with advertisement. Maybe I will get to the stage of making feature films, who knows, but I appreciate the talent involved with a genuine filmmaking. The fact that they can bring together a vast amount of people to be on the same page to complete a project. Nowadays, it's more so how they packaged it in a gimmicky way. For example, titles and thumbnails, posters and highlight reels. How many titles do you see in uppercase on YouTube or Twitch? Capitalization should only be done correctly. It's my pet peeve. And honestly, it's because people are desensitized and they need to be yelled at in caps lock to pay notice. So let's be real. Their importance is derivative of a singular audience's impression. Mainly, creators become arrogant, thus objective. To me, still subjective. A lot of focus ridiculing members of the public, hardly ever defending. Oh, you paid that poor person begging. Yes. You paid them for you to include them on your pointless video, which is supposedly to remind others to be charitable. Well, if they allowed you to be invasive of their privacy and circumstance, shit, they're just desperate. The stories they tell can be cut significantly shorter, but they like to keep you on the edge of your runtime, seat. Stalling for the longest time for something better to say, and it never comes. Leaving it raw is an excuse to be lazy in post-production, in my opinion. Even AI considers me to be process over polish. Not at all. My presentation is the best part of it. My portfolio is crispy, presented in a clear, distinguished format, and if you ever watch something from me, you know it was me that made it. Simple as. It may not be super high definition, but the choices made including cinematography, editing, and storytelling at its own pace. But it's weird because I used to be obsessive over having the highest possible quality, until I realized it doesn't mean jack. My intended audience is those that would like to understand, won't jump to conclusions, go back to know more if they missed it, and are willing to consider an alternative. Usually, unpopular, though correct, point of view, regardless of the one they hold. I know most will not be like such, but I don't care. Integrity is my strong suit. I don't use strength to outweigh other people's possibilities. I don't call myself knowledgeable without knowing much, like some people, and I don't bend my will in fear that I may disregard others. It's plain and simple with me. Truth matters, no secrets. You people take bad individuals as your inherent leaders based upon the superficial qualities they demonstrate, which on the surface sounds great, but when it comes to substance, they fall flat as a pancake, which you might also call an industry plan, because without a doubt, if they are successful on a platform where the majority shareholder stake is the public attention, it's unusually supportive of bad actions. Streamers waste your time. Wasting away the day on entertaining oneself is fun to some extent, I suppose, but majority of those with a constant revenue stream from this method would love your loyalty to them and nobody else. I cannot help but think they would rather people solely eat up their words, thoughts, and actions than do their own thinking. Often than not, these examples say one thing, then do another. For example, those who do charity streams. They aren't built on the idea of charity, foundation of a cause. They are doing it for one day and concluding when hitting their short thought goal. Remember, history is not irrelevant, it shows how we got here. I would rather people experience life and share honestly with those that are around them. Through video is, but with all the theatrics. Misinformation, false prodigies controlling narratives, people often on a ship headed towards destruction. Stop wasting hours watching streams for a chance of interactivity. Go outside and speak to people. Yes, most suck. However, take it with a grain of salt and do not extend one's hand too long, meaning your interaction should not go beyond a realistic scope. Stay level-headed. Content creation is different, as people should watch a minimal amount to gain the most from it. These new wave of celebrities are time wasters, so for their audience to dictate their movements is laughable. Short words translating into actions, look at what I made him do moments. Spectating is an activity that makes those who do it disregard other important aspects of daily life. Treating others as humans goes out their bedroom window. Taking pics with fans, how conceited. Anybody that's self-interested. And let's be real, most of this industry is heavily focused on a face card value. It comes before their morals and character. In fact, those two are not even considered. To listen to a streamer for hours on end, unless it be a talk show primarily to share ideas, thoughts, opinions, then I feel like this category is justified. Worst part is they won't even know of your existence even after knowing your handle. Maybe the audience watch to feel included. But ultimately, you have to acknowledge and respect the opinion of your host despite absurdity. Otherwise, you cannot be part of their community. Just the other day, I saw somebody playing a game of rolling a ball down the hill. This individual had done this for hours, yet thousands of people are engaging, commenting, subscribing. For what? So you can keep up the bad commentary saying things like, I'm better than you. It's so redundant. Or how about the stream of someone just having a subscriber count? No videos on their channel, nothing. Probably has more subscribers than me by now. You guys can always go fuck yourselves. I don't care about you. Never will. Cinema is almost dead. Nearly dead. Why make 100% movie when you can make 10% shows, which brings in more revenue and attention? All those expenses, i.e. distributing through cinemas? I agree. Experience is somewhat different and a different playing field with bigger screens, but like, who cares? They would rather sit in their own comfort. And I don't blame them. Cinema is a different sport, kind of like Gladiator, but in a ring. People have moved on to not enjoy those Olympic ceremonies, though given the crowd today, if that was televised, would people watch it? Moving on swiftly, adult industry is only for money. Dirt of the earth who sell their bodies, and the pricks that give them permission, like it is okay. It is not okay because every adult consuming was once an innocent child. And being exposed to illicit propaganda in the forms of, it's their life, they can do what they like, flush it down. Mate, how is it still a thing that exists? The fact that they firewall it for youngsters surely means it shouldn't be consumed to begin with. It is degenerative, especially regarding societal issues, making an obscene impression and an amount of money to add. Certainly there is something damaging behind the veil. The term in the modern world that suits them best are sex kittens, exploiting their physical adornment, i.e. revealing looks, shape, features, for monetary gain. And the woman supporting like, go girl, get that bag. So if it's not about the means which one earns their money, is it right to say rob a grandmother of her prized possessions? They did say get that bag. Hypocrites, for the most part. Doomed if I'm going to keep it real with you. Even more the reason to keep going. Ever heard of the phrase it's never too late? That's because it isn't. The reason why people do stupid things are for two. One is desperation and two is stupidity. Stupidity is often a mistake. Desperation can be too. However, is as of and when in sound mind to make a decision. And as a bonus, thirdly, stupid people copy stupid people. Yet the honest truth is, for life to function in an ideal world, there should never be a gap when it comes to wealth. In fact, it wouldn't be considered as wealth in the first place. People would have what they need, and just that. Television rules the nation around the world. Not anymore does television take center stage, mainly due to the widespread of internet connectivity. Yet it is the same principle. A screen fundamentally, constant feed relating to audiovisual enterprises. News was initially all on the printing press. Still media at its essence, minus a charm in my opinion when compared to light-emitting diodes, but still cool when you can choose typography systems. Oh, and how they play with words or narrative. Mobile devices. Daft Punks consider mobile devices to be the end. The peak of human creative aspiration and invention. To be honest, it was a decline in redevelopment since television. Though a breakthrough, remember, as far as you get, at one point, it's a dead end. Brick wall. You have no choice but to turn back. For speculators and for your information, this is not artificial intelligence writing these communicative pieces. Hence why, firstly, it's one of a kind. And secondly, kind of all over the place. But trust me, if I've mentioned it, it was worth mentioning. Music incorporates a devilish ambition. What is often the topic? People don't seem to realize. Witnessing the only common topics. Anger, fear, shame, sadness. Damn, you think I worked on Inside Out from Daphne, but I did not. Females constantly talking about love unless they be different. And talk about the other thing, which is boasting and violence. Crazy, ain't it? Funnily enough, my university dissertation was not as long as one of my episodes available here, and more thought was gone into each of my soundtracks. Now that's what I call funny. In the music industry, a female singer is considered to be elite, though people 1,000 years ago used to consider them worthless. Funny how times change. Got to move on with the times. Then again, fundamentals should not change if they are morally appropriate. I feel like musical talent and mainstream recognition go hand in hand. Once again, it's about demographic and what you say in a brained way in order to relate to masses. Funny how the truth subsequently has a rhythmic tone. Might as well shoot the plug. 7 Deadly Sins is about criticism and why should they not be challenged when they are brainwashing the youth. To an Entertainment Incorporation tangent. It is rather ironic that an entertaining industry predominantly and practically surrounds itself with vices. All the more for appeal, like women, alcohol, gambling. Almost as though people have taken vices as a form of amusing themselves. Gambling, regardless of how much an expert people claim to be, it will always be in favor for the one offering to be beaten in exchange for a reward. Why would someone as clever as a criminal wager against themselves if they were unsure on who was the victor? They know they would lose. Hence, people are enticed by the dream and fall into a trap outlined. Bottom line, vices are considered entertainment, but not for children. I wonder why. Because if children are brash and call it out for what it is, it will affect future views regarding this matter. And we can't have the people know too much now. It is meant for them when they get old and are responsible for throwing their life away. And cannot blame anybody other than themselves. I blame the casinos. There's always some form of motive behind most things. How about gaming and constant murder? Other entertainment could be forms of purchases like vehicles, lodging, people who act like fools or are fools. Best word describing entertainment, or media in particular, is exploitative, regardless the format it is presented in. So should we just twiddle our thumbs and wait till we die? Well, yeah. Nowadays, it doesn't seem like producers intend on making works of art. They simply either remake existing productions or take a random novel and adapt it for the bigger screen audience. Which links to why cinema is almost dead. Yes, I like 5 or 7 point surround sound, but it's terrible sound design when it comes to like every scary movie having the same notable moments and is more jarring than anything else. As for my production team of 1, I know my limits, so I just do what I can with the time that I have. There's also a big difference. Directors used to take passion in creating works of art. Now it's mostly about selling an idea for top dollar without spending much on budget. That way they can pay themselves more. As someone with 2 degrees in this subject of media and creative practices, I find it funny that I cannot create something viral, let alone viral without bending the rules. But I've noticed true artists are only favored once they are dead. And here's me being straight. Don't think of me when I'm dead. Appreciate it. On to the last topic of the day, which is celebrities are full of shit. Some say positive things like drink 5 liters of water a day. Hey, imagine if poor people had 5 liters to overhydrate themselves. Living things are made from water after all. Their suggestions and advice are often self-absorbed and push through an echo chamber, meaning people who support them are also willing to voice same philosophies to show allegiance. Who needs an independent thinker at this stage? It's easier just to follow. A lot of them say hard work pays off. You don't think people in third world countries work hard to the point they put us to shame? We should be grateful. It's not hard work, it's opportunity combined with reward. An underdog in any story is someone already at the top. A real underdog would never get a chance at spotlight regardless effort. Personally, believe it to be at the master's will. Yah would say hope is not alive. Yes, you may hope for good and it doesn't bear any fruit, but the devil hopes too, and he is certain in his belief. So his hope for dismay has conviction behind it. So it is keeping hope alive more than you. And you cannot say hope is always a good thing, because I too hope people get what they truly deserve. On the tangent with celebrities, but I think it's worthy pointing out, why do they mostly sound like they're running off the same script, with a variety of answers generally circling around one aspect? One side or otherwise usually stay silent, like they understand their position is not for change. Lastly, most protests are in vain. It's not about awareness. Stop lying. You think that people who are doing bad shit, crazy things, careful words? Again, the answer is no. And there we have it. Thank you very much for listening, and be sure to tune in for another episode of Sunny Sides Up.